Vaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadah Mahyam Dadhati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaisnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakan Vichamcha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatade Satarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So thank you, dear devotees. Let's start with reading the verses and the synonyms, and then we can continue with the rest today. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 1, Text 31. Shemam sakache duyudhana aste yaha palguna labdha chanu rahasya lebhenjasa jasadhokshaje sevyeya gatim tadiyam yatibhirdaru pam the durapam. So the synonyms, word to word. Kshemam, all good. Saha, he. Kachid, whether. Yuyudhanaha, Satyaki. Aste, there. Yaha, one who. Palgunat, from Arjuna. Labdha, has achieved. Dhanu Rahasya, one who understands the intricacies of military art. Lebhe, also achieved. Anjasa, summarily. Aduksaja, of the transcendence. Sevaya, by service. Eva, certainly. Gatim, destination. Tadiyam, transcendental. Yatibhihi, by great renouncers. Durapam, very difficult to achieve. Translation. O Uddhava, does Yuyudhana fare well? He learned the intricacies of the military art from Arjuna and attained the transcendental destination, which is very difficult to reach even for great renouncers. So purport. The destination of transcendence is to become the personal associate of the personality of Godhead, who is known as Adhoksaja, he who is beyond the reach of the senses. The renouncers of the world, the sannyasis, give up all worldly connections, namely family, wife, children, friends, home, wealth, everything, to attain the transcendental bliss of Brahman happiness. But Adhoksaja happiness is beyond Brahman happiness. The empiric philosophers enjoy transcendental quality of bliss by philosophical speculation on the supreme truth. But beyond that pleasure is the pleasure enjoyed by Brahman in his eternal form of the personality of Godhead. Brahman bliss is enjoyed by living entities after liberation from material bondage. But Para Brahman the personality of Godhead enjoys eternally a bliss of his own potency, which is called the Hladeni potency. The empiric philosopher who studies Brahman by negation of the external features has not yet learned the quality of the Hladeni potency of Brahman. Out of many potencies of the omnipotent, there are three features of his internal potency, namely Samvit, Sandhini, and Hladini. And in spite of their strict adherence to the principles of Yama, Niyama, Asana, Dhyana, Dharana, and Pranayama, the three great yogis, the great yogis and dhyanis are unable to enter into the internal potency of the Lord. This internal potency is, however, easily realized by the devotees of the Lord by dint of devotional service. Yuyodhana achieved this stage of life just as he achieved expert knowledge in military science from Arjuna. Thus, his life was successful to the fullest extent from both the material and spiritual angles of vision. That is a way of devotional service to the Lord. Hare Krishna. So I think you should keep, because I will keep going back and forth to the purport of Srila Prabhupada, because we have got lots of things to learn here. Yes, the purport here. So thank you for giving me this opportunity today to purify my speech. We are continuing with Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, the questions of Vidura. And we know Vidura is asking these questions from Uddhava. And today we'll continue on text chapter 1, text 31, which is we have to deal with this personality called Yudhana. So this great personality, he is a cousin of Krishna. He's a cousin of Krishna, and he is of the Yadu dynasty. He is also he's also known as Satyaki. So we'll start with some prayers before we continue to go further. Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langayate grim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurudina Taranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraye Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate tam slokir bhaktir bhavati naistike. So, so we will continue, as I said today, we continue with the questions of Vidura to Uddhava. And there are many questions about many great personalities that many questions about so many great personalities and associates of Lord Shri Krishna that we know, and then Vidura knew about them, and so he's asking about each of them. How are they doing? As he said, Yudhana fare. How is he fare? Is he faring well? Does he fare well? That means that is he okay? How is he doing? But Vidura, he knew that the battle was over and many died. Many people died. 6.4 million people died in that battle. So he was asking, and he kept on asking about all those great souls who were very close to their Lord. And as we know, the whole Srimad Bhagavatam unfolds in question and answers, mostly on philosophical topics or topics concerning the past times of the Lord. But the questions in this section are about the Yadavas, mostly the Yadavas, the personal associates of the Lord. Here, Yudhana is mentioned. He is also known as Satyaki. Another name for him is Satyaki. But most of the time we will see only this name will appear Yudhana. right? So before, like in the Vedic culture, the great personalities, they had several names. Example, in Bhagavad Gita, we see Arjuna addressing Lord Krishna as Madhava, Govinda, Achyuta, Janardhana, or Rishikesha, or so many other names. And also, Krishna addresses Arjuna as same, as Partha, as Dhananjaya, as Mahabahu, as Konteya, Parantapa, Gudakesha, Pandava, like this. So various names come. Similarly, we see here that Yudhana was also named Satyaki, and he is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita by Duryodhana in at the beginning, very beginning of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1, verse 4, which goes like Atra Sura Maheshwasa Bhimarjuna Samayudhi Yuyudhana Viratascha Drupadascha Maharatha. So the translation goes, here is an army. In this army are many heroic bowmen, equal in fighting to Bhima and Arjuna, great fighters like Yuyudhana, Virata, and Drupad. So Duryodhana mentioned him already. So a couple of places he's mentioned, but not under the name of Yuyudhana, under the name of Satyaki. So we see that Yuyudhana was a big fighter as he was compared to Bhima and Arjuna. He fought on the side of the Pandavas because Krishna was there. So even most of the great personalities, like Bhishma Dev, Drona, Kripa, Karna, they all fought on the Kaurava side. But Yuyudhana, he was with the Pandavas. And he defeated most of the Kauravas' great fighters. He also had the major, he was kind of, he was a major figure, like in the pastime of Lord Krishna. But because Lord Krishna's pastime is so vast, it's not described so much. But then he was a very prominent figure. So he used to live in Dwarka. He used to live in Dwarka, and he was a Yadava. As I said, he was a cousin of Krishna. And as he was related to Krishna, he was also related to the Pandavas. And he was the chief commander of one of the Yadava forces. So Krishna had his own army, and his chief commander was Kritavarma. But he fought on the opposite side because Duryodhana asked for the army of Krishna, while Arjuna asked Krishna himself. So we see that Kritavarma, who was a commander, just he went on the opposite side. He also was a Yadava, but he wanted, because it was Duryodhana asked for the army. So Yuyudhana, he was a very good chariot driver, and he would often accompany Krishna. He was not the chief chariot driver, but that was not his duty because he was a Kshatriya, and Kshatriya were not chariot drivers. They were like fighters, but they had usually the Sudras would drive the chariot, not the Kshatriya. But like we see Karna, he was called Sudraputra. Sudraputra, because his father was a chariot driver. That's why they could Sudraputra. They would call him. And then, but all the fighters, they need. It doesn't matter if they were Kshatriya, they had to learn this art of driving the chariot. They had good skill of chariot driving, because if their charioteer got killed on the battlefield, they should know how to drive their own chariot, right? And in the fight, what happened is the enemy, they would always try to kill the chariot driver first, kill the horse and the chariot driver, and then they will kill the person. So Satyaki, he was like, I will call Satyaki because I find it easy for me. So Satyaki was an expert in chariot driving, and sometimes he took the service of driving Krishna. We know that Krishna's chariot driving was Daruk, but sometimes Satyaki would volunteer to accompany Krishna, but not on the Kurukshetra battle. But when he was going on some expedition, then he would go. So in this verse, it's stated that he learned the military art from Arjuna. That Yudhana, he learned the military. He first learned from Dronacharya. He learned just like all the other Yadavas and Pandavas. They learned from Dronacharya. So he also learned from Dronacharya the art of military. And then just to perfect himself for higher perfection, he went to Arjuna, who was also a military disciple of Dronacharya. But Arjuna became the most accomplished student, warrior of his generation. That's why he was always like, everybody knows about Arjuna, right? And then, and also he was, Arjuna was awarded many celestial weapons, along with the knowledge of how to use them. So in that sense, he surpassed his own guru. And so Satyaki was close to Krishna and would often see the Pandavas, and he learned from Arjuna, right? And also now he used all his knowledge in the fight, in the battle. And so, as I said, he would often accompany Krishna on expeditions. So he was there when Krishna, Bhima, and Arjuna went to Jarasandh, to Magad, to challenge Jarasandh. He was there. He was there when Krishna went to Indraloka to get the Parijat tree. And he went with Krishna when Krishna went as peace messenger to the Kauravas. So in these like specific places, he used to go with Krishna. So what would we call nowadays that kind of defense policy nowadays, when we call it? But Satyaki was like very aggressive. Nowadays we will say, before taking any decision, before a fight take place, let go from like diplomatic talk or so. But he was taking decision on the spot. When it came to take decision on fighting, he was aggressive. Like, as we say, he was like a hawk, no diplomacy. Krishna used diplomacy before war, but Satyaki, he would push for battle. So when the Pandavas were preparing to go on exile, for example, Satyaki went to Yudhishthira and he said, "Hey, what is this? Why are you going? Where are you going? Why are you going for exile for 12 years or 13 years? Come on, let's have a fight. Let's go and we are all the Yadavas. Let's just attack Duryodhana and kill all of them." But he knew that was not Krishna's plan. Krishna had another plan. He wanted to bring all the sinful kings together. And Krishna wanted to delay the battle because he thought that, okay, if I delay the battle, then more king will come together, because there were so many sinful kings on the world, on the face of the earth, that Mother Earth had to go and pray to Krishna. Why I'm suffering that much? So then Krishna wanted to get all those sinful kings under one roof, so that in the battle he would kill all of them. But sorry. So also Krishna wanted one thing more. He wanted to make those Bhima, get Bhima very angry. And usually when something has happened, after some time, we will, if we are angry, we will get like pacified and we will forget about it. But Bhima, no, he was somebody whose anger increased during those 13 years of exile. So, so the day we know the day Dushasana dragged Draupadi and tried to disrobe her, Bhima could have killed all of them with his bare hands, but he was bound by the promise of his elder brother, because Yudhishthira was a righteous person. He would not accept it. So Bhima just kept quiet. So for 13 years of exile, his anger increased more. And he was very happy when he got on the battlefield, because he waited for so long to take revenge on the Kauravas, especially when he faced Dushasana and Duryodhana. He was very happy to kill them both. So he has been kind of waiting. He was waiting for 13 years, and he was meditating on that moment when he will face them on the battlefield. So when they came back from exile after 13 years, they had to take decision. What was a further course of action? But Satyaki said, no, we should fight. That is so Krishna, as I said, he followed rules. First, he tried to pacify them, use some politics, and try to give them some inducement. And then if all of these things don't work, then you fight. That's what Krishna proposed. But Satyaki said no. So they all decided that Krishna should go as peace messenger to the Kauravas on behalf of the Pandavas. And when Balram didn't want the war, because we know Balram didn't want the war, because he knew wherever Krishna was, there would be victory. And he had a soft spot for Duryodhana. And he knew that everybody will be killed. But Satyaki got very angry, very, very angry at Balram. And when Krishna went as peace messenger, Satyaki accompanied him. And it is said that it was Satyaki who had the wind that Duryodhana was trying to arrest Krishna. That was, he was the one who realized that, yes, something fishy is going in the air, and Duryodhana will try something like that. But what happened? Krishna said, okay, you want to catch me, catch me. And Krishna just flew from one side to the other. And when they couldn't catch him, then Krishna showed his universal form. So he showed his, and he bewildered all of them there. Everybody tried to capture, but they couldn't even look at him. The effulgence was so bright. And we know who can catch Krishna. He's so difficult to be caught, right? So it is said that after Bhima and Arjuna, Satyaki was the most destructive of all the warriors on the Pandava side. He would fight so fiercely. And usually, on the battlefield, the strategy is every fighter is like pitched to fight with a particular fighter according to their strength, according to their ability, according to their weapons. So here what happens, Satyaki, he was pitched to fight with Kritavarma, and they were both Yadavas, both of them. So Kritavarma, he was leading the army of Krishna, which he gave to Duryodhana, and Satyaki would defeat his enemies, but he would not kill them. He would just defeat them and leave them, take their arms away and weapons away, but just leave them. So when Arjuna was on the battlefield looking for Jayadratha, Jayadratha is a brother-in-law of the Kauravas, Duryodhana's sister, Dushala's husband. And when they were in exile, Jayadratha, he tried to kidnap Draupadi. So when he tried to kidnap Draupadi, so the Pandavas defeated him, and they shaved half of his head, and they kind of humiliate him, and then he went away. So, but during the battle, he was the one who helped to kill the son of Arjuna, Abhimanyu. And he was the one who drew that, how they call it now?
Review.
Chakravyu. Thank you. So he was the one who created, and then he would not allow anyone inside. So all the great warriors, they killed the young 16 years old Abhimanyu. So, and on that day, when Arjuna went after Jayadratha, Yudhishthira saw that, okay, maybe Arjuna needs some help. So he sent Satyaki. He said, Satyaki, you go and help Arjuna. So although he didn't need help, but as we know, Krishna was with him. But being the elder brother, he was worried about Arjuna. So it was the 14th day of the war, and Satyaki was tired. Then when he was tired, he was defeated, the one who's never defeated, Aparajita, but then he was defeated that day. He was defeated by another member of the family named Bhurishwara. So Bhurishwara, he disarmed Satyaki, and he kicked Satyaki just to humiliate him. He did not kill him. But that was a big insult. And as he was a very great fighter. But then Arjuna, who was far from them, he could see what was happening with his arrow. He cut the arm of Bhurishwara. And when he cut the hand, the arms, then Satyaki he just stood up, and then he take his sword and he cut the head of Bhurishwara. So that was not appropriate in the war, because Bhurishwara was being attacked by 2 warriors, which was against the rules. So then when he cut his head, everybody was scolded him. They were not happy. Oh, you shouldn't have done that. But who has got time on the battlefield to discuss about all these things? Decision had to be made and taken immediately. Action need to be taken. And now we know that he said no. He said no. I have done the right thing because he humiliated me, and I cannot stand that. That's what he did. He killed Bhurishwara. Also, we know then. So Satyaki was most of the time present everywhere with them during their time of grief when Aswatthama killed the 5 sons of Draupadi. Satyaki was there to mourn with the family, and he also wanted to kill Aswatthama immediately. So he was one among the very few fighters who survived the war. There were the 5 Pandavas, himself, and a few more. On the side of the Kauravas, there were only Aswatthama, Kripacharya, and Kritavarma. And then after the battle was over, Satyaki went back to Dwarka, and so did Kritavarma. But Kritavarma didn't have an army to manage, as all of them died in the battle. So these 2 great fighters, they didn't get on too well. Both of them were Yadavas. They had to go back to Dwarka, but they were not getting on very well. So one day, they went to Prabhas. Prabhas is where they went there for some sacrifices, because in Dwarka, that was the end of Krishna's Leela. Were drawing to the end toward the end of Krishna's Leela on this material world. So they all went to Prabhas because they were seeing some bad omen in Dwarka. Even Dwarka was transcendental, but still they could see some bad omen. So they all decided to go to Prabhas, very sacred place, for some sacrifices. And when they went there, Satyaki, he made a comment. He made a comment. He said, how fairly have you killed Bhurishwara? And then, no, that comment was made by Kritavarma. Kritavarma said, how unfairly have you killed Bhurishwara? Then Satyaki made another comment. He said, was it fair when all the great warriors killed a young boy yesterday? That was Arjuna's son. How was it fair when you people, all of you, you killed that young person? So in this way, they started fighting among themselves. And he said, how you were like great coward warriors. Abhimanyu one has his own. So they started arguing, and then soon it broke into a fight. So all of the others, who were mostly Krishna's sons, they also got involved. They were all drunk, and they plucked the grass which acted as swords, and they killed each other. So here we see that they forgot who were brothers and who were relatives. And the curse that Krishna's sons got from the Brahmanas, that is taking place now. The curse is acting now. It's because Samba, the son of Krishna and Jambavati, he dressed into a woman, and he put something like a karahi, what we'll call a pot, right? He put on his belly, he would put sari on and make like as if he's pregnant. And he went to see all the great sages, and he asked them, they asked, what could she give birth to, a boy or girl? So the sages, they knew, and the sages got very angry, and they cursed. They say, whatever he will give birth to, that will become your destruction. So they didn't go to Krishna because they were so scared. They asked for forgiveness and all, but then they went to Ugrasena, their grandfather. So Ugrasena said, just grate it into pieces and throw it into the sea. So that was iron. It was iron. So they grated, it became like a thin powder. They threw in the sea, and one piece was left which they couldn't grate, so they just threw it in the sea. And all those powders, iron powder, they became like grass. They grew on the side of on the bank of the sea, like shore, and they become like blades, strong blades. That's what they use as sword. And that piece was a fish swallowed that piece of iron, and that a hunter got the fish, and from the fish belly he got that piece of iron. That's what he used to shoot Krishna's leg. So here, so as in this way, we see that all of them were killed, but Satyaki, or as we'll call him, Yudhana, he didn't die. He didn't die because it is said that at the end we will see what Prabhupada is explaining about him. So he didn't die, and he left that place. He left that place, and he went away. He went away from that place, and he performed austerities like yoga. He meditated on Krishna, and he achieved his perfection. So yesterday in the class, somebody was asking the question about why Krishna didn't save his sons. So Srila Prabhupada writes, he says that Krishna wants to accelerate the process. So we see many great persons, many great pious kings get into trouble, like King Indradumna, he became elephant. Gajendra, King Bharata, he became a deer. And we see many, many examples in Srimad Bhagavatam. Also, we see the death of the young Abhimanyu, who was a favorite of Krishna. All this happened because Krishna wanted to take his associates with him for his next Leela in other planets. He didn't want to leave them behind. That's why that was my answer yesterday, but I didn't say it, right? So we see again In his purport, Srila Prabhupada talks a lot about the difference between Brahman realization and Bhagavan realization. He also talks about the three features of the internal potency. Mainly, he said Samvit, Sakti, which is cognitive potency, I acknowledge, and Sandhini, that is existential manifestation, and Hladini is a pleasure potency. Usually we will call Radharani Hladini, pleasure potency of Krishna. So we know that many great yogis, they renounce everything and the aims are to merge into the Brahman. They think that that's the end, that they will be happy, they'll have peace in life. But most of the time, they are not satisfied. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 21. Tetam bhaktva sarvalokam visalam shine punyam ratyalokam visanti evam trayi dharmam anuprapanna gata gatam kama kama labhante. When they have thus enjoyed vast heavenly sense pleasure and the results of their pious activities are exhausted, they return to this mortal planet again. Thus, those who seek sense enjoyment by adhering to the principles of the three Vedas achieve only repeated birth and death. So we see in the Brahman, there is nothing, it's empty, right? And the Brahman bliss is enjoyed by the living entities only after liberation from material bondage. But Parabrahman, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, enjoyed eternally a bliss and of his own potency. So, which is called the Hladani potency, which many people don't know about. What they know, what they do, they practice the eightfold mystic perfections, which Prabhupada has again said in his purport, like we see, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Dhyana, Dharana, and Pranayama. Prabhupada missed two here. Usually there are 8 of them. They are like Yama, self-control, kind of abstinence. Niyama is disciplines. They observe the disciplines. Asana, yoga postures, physical exercises like. Pranayama, that is a breathe, they control their breathing. And pratyahara, withdrawal of the senses. Dharana, concentration. Dhyana, meditation. And samadhi means absorption. So their main purpose is to prepare the body and mind to sit in meditation by withdrawing the senses and by concentrating on a specific object. So most of the time on light, like they meditate on light, but these yogis, they have to find a secluded place. It's not easy, where there is no disturbances. They have to practice a sitting postures, which is very, very difficult. It's not easy to sit. Like they have to have an asana. The asana should be not too high, not too low. They have to have their back erect. They have to have a deer skin and then a soft silk cloth. And underneath they have to have the kusa grass, that is to protect them from bugs. And sitting there, they'll have to the back erect and the head raised a little bit, and the vision, the eyes should be half closed, and the vision should be just looking at the tip of their nose. And only to come to that kind of perfection, it will take years. Because if somebody tries to sit like that, they will fall asleep. And the mind will be going around. What is happening? If I close my eyes, somebody may come and kill me. Some animal may attack me. Something may happen, right? So it is very, very difficult. And and also we see that they go in secluded places. That means they don't see anyone. They cannot preach to anyone. They just say for themselves. They don't want to share anything. Even if they get the knowledge, even if they get mystic power, they will not be able to help anyone. And what is the use of that? They'll take it, they'll go to the Brahman effulgence, and then they'll come back here. As soon as their Shine Punya Mitra Loka, they will come back to this material world. As soon as their pious credit is exhausted, that is, you go down. There's no space for you there. So that is what they do. So we see even after all these penances, they have the chance to come back. So whereas those who practice devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they don't have to go through the hardship, because it's hard to leave your house, to leave your family members, to leave all your things and go in a secluded place and live on your own and try to meditate. It is very hard in this day and age. It was easier. As we know, in the Satya Yuga, Trita Yuga, people used to live like in the Satya Yuga, 100,000 years. So that's how Hiranyakashipu could meditate for 36,000 years. And then came Treta Yuga, 10,000. Came Dwapara, 1,000 years. Now Kali Yuga, 100 years, not even 100 years. Hardly people reach 100 years. So how long can we meditate? And life is like a rat race life. How can we meditate for? We don't have the capacity, by the way. So if we just stay at home, we don't kind of tell our family members that, oh, you are Maya, we don't like you, we are leaving you, we're going to Vrindavan, we are going here. No, we stay at home. And we just detach from the worldly affairs while living at home itself. We have to live in the material world. We cannot not work. We cannot not have a house. We cannot not have a job. We cannot not have the facility of life. But simultaneously, we can add spiritual life to it. We don't have to take drastic measures. All we have to do, just add Krishna. Put Krishna in the middle of everything we are doing. If you have family members at home, husband, wife, and one child, or husband and wife, or some children has gone away, or engage everyone. Like if the husband is working, wife also is working. Okay, so share it. In the morning, I will wake the deities, I will do the arati. In the evening, you can do that. During the day, one of the kids can help. Like this, whole family, without one having the burden, everyone is sharing the responsibility. Everyone is putting Krishna in the middle, and everyone will get a very blissful life. I won't say perfect, because perfect doesn't exist. Blissful life. And in this way, if you practice your sadhana according to rules and regulation of Krishna consciousness, like Krishna never said, leave your home and go. He told Arjuna to fight on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And if we see what he said here, the internal potency is, however, easily realized by the devotees of the Lord by dint of devotional service. Yudhana achieved this stage of life just as he achieved expert knowledge in military science from Arjuna. So you see, Yudhana, he didn't leave home. He was a fighter. Thus, his life was successful to the fullest extent from both the material and spiritual angles of vision. That is a way of devotional service to the Lord. So here, Prabhupada is telling us. He's telling us you don't need to. They were all fighters. They were all family figures. They all had their job and their family and their house. But he achieved perfection. He did not need to go for, he did not need to go anywhere else. But he just had to focus his mind on the devotional service of the Lord. So that is what Krishna requests from all of us. Just surrender unto him, right? But here we see Krishna says Sarva Dharman Parityaja in the I think chapter 18, verse 65 or 66. Sarva Dharma Parityaja Mamekam Saranam Vraja Aham Tam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayashyami Ma Suchaha. So he said, leave all the religion and come to me, right? Lord Ram says, if you bow down to me, I will bless you. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he came, he didn't ask for any of these things. He didn't see their position. He didn't see their caste. He didn't see anything. He just gave everyone the Harinam. Everyone chant on the street. No going in secluded place. No bowing down to me. No, nothing. Just chant. That's all. And so we should be very thankful that we are practicing this Krishna consciousness. We're taking to this process. We are hearing to this 1 hour also of this katha, and we should say that we are very lucky in this way. So I will just request everyone to please continue and encourage your family members, encourage your friends, encourage your neighbors or co-workers or whoever you can. Not everybody will take it, but our duty is just to encourage people and try to tell people about this practice of Krishna consciousness. As Prabhupada said here, that is a way of devotional service to the Lord. He doesn't say don't fight. He said you have to fight whenever you have to fight. So I will stop here. And I would very much like to continue on text 32, which is as nice a personality as Akrura, but I'll leave it for someone else for tomorrow. I'll say thank you and Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Thank you. If you have any questions or any correction or anything, please go ahead. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mataji, for this excellent session today. So many stories interwoven into this shloka, and you made it so interesting. So thank you so much. Mataji, just one clarification. Wasn't it Gandhari who gave the curse to Krishna that all your sons will die? You said it was the curse from the sadhus.
Yes, it was both. It was a curse from Gandhari when her sons died, when Krishna went to see her. Then she cursed Krishna. She said, as my son died, your son also will die. That's why Krishna didn't save them. Krishna said, okay, mother, I will accept your curse. So that is also there. Krishna could have saved. They were fighting among themselves, but Krishna could have saved. The other curse is because they were fighting among themselves. That what the curse was from the Brahmana. The Brahmana said, whatever will come out of that tummy, that will be the cause of your end. But then Krishna could have saved, right? But Krishna said, no, that was a curse of Gandhari also. Yes, you are right. Both are there. Both are there. They got cursed from both sides. Krishna got cursed, and then the son got cursed from the Brahmana. But it was all Krishna Leela. He could have stopped it. Yeah. But all these, all these curses, they give us examples in our life, how we should live our life. So we should not offend a Brahmana. That is what we learn here, right? So we get many, many lessons from the curses. And sometimes the curses are kind of blessing in disguise. Krishna had to take all his entourage to his next Leela. So how to do that? Something must happen, right? Then he can take all of them. Yes. Thank you for that realization.
Thank you very much, Mataji. Are there any other questions or comments from the group? If there are no questions or comments, yes, Prashanatma Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, then we're pronounced. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Krishna.
Mataji, thank you for. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Yes, yes, you are.
Thank you for the wonderful class, Mataji. Thank you for taking us into Leela. There was no external experience during this class, at least. Yeah, but thank you very much. I just have a question. How rare or how many times, how often does Sri Gauranitai appear as a direct expansion of Krishna and Balaram? Like how rare are they in the Yuga cycle?
I'm not too sure. You know, we know this in the Kali Yuga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu appeared. But then when Krishna comes, Balram is there. Balram is Nityananda, right? When Lord Ram is there, Lakshman is Nityananda. But this same name, I'm not, because we have so many yugas, maybe they come, Prabhuji. I am not too sure. I'm sorry, I cannot speculate on this. But what we know, like Krishna come in different incarnation. Krishna has many, many names. So Chaitanya Prabhu is Krishna himself. Maybe he appears somewhere else. I don't know, Prabhuji. I'm sorry.
I had like they appear in like once in the whole lifetime of man. So I was just wondering. I just needed a clarification.
Yes, that is once in lifetime of Lord Brahma. Right?
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yes. That once in lifetime of Brahma, Lord Krishna comes to this material world. But we are lucky he came twice. He came as Krishna and as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Yes.
He came twice. But then the name are different. Because Krishna himself becomes only once. But for us, he comes twice in different names, under different names.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you so much for the wonderful class.
Hare
As
Krishna.
always. Hare Krishna Mataji. Yes, yeah, it was nice.
Thank you.
As you said, like we have to stay home and still be able to concentrate on God and do things. It's just a big takeaway today for me. Yeah, which is not easy. Yes, obviously
Not
it is not
easy.
easy.
No,
I mean, yeah, but we will have to keep trying, and one day we will get there, hopefully. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much for this class.
you have said the key word, Mataji. You have said the key word. We will keep trying.
Yes.
You know, when
Yes.
you try, you become perfect. You know, practice
Yes.
make perfect. So we keep
Yes.
practicing. It will happen slowly. It will happen, Mataji.
Yes,
Thank
Mataji. Yes, yes, Mataji. Thank you so much. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I guess there are no more questions or comments. We have almost exhausted our time as well. So let us thank Mataji and let us chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra once in glorification of Indulekha Mataji, who so wonderfully explained us today the Leelas. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare
Hare Hare.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhaiva cha
Patitanam
pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Grantaraj Bhagavatam ki jai, Ananda Koti Vaishnavin ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sri Guru Maharaj ki jai, Eldoret Yatra ki jai, Gaura Premanande, Hare Hare Bo. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you.
Grace Indulekha Mataji ki jai.
Srila
Hare
Prabhupada ki jai, Hare Krishna. Hare
Hare.
Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.